Shalom family and welcome back to the Semitic Jew channel. On this channel I care about three things: scripture, logic, and truth. And in today's video I want to respond to a video that is trending on Threads. It may be trending elsewhere. So if you see this video, please be wary of it because it is very problematic. In this video, a man by the name of Brandon Tatum, calls himself Officer Tatum. He has a show called The Officer Tatum Show. And in this episode, or excuse me, in this video that I'm going to present to you, he makes a series of claims that is very problematic. And so when you see a trending video like this, you need to ask yourself a series of critical thinking questions. Something like, why is this video trending? What is there about this video that makes it trend? Is people interacting with this video because it is truthful, or are they interacting with this video because they feel like this video is important to watch? So those are just a few of the questions that you need to ask yourself when you see a video trending. Not that the video is truthful, but you need to analyze what's in that video. So what I'm going to do is just simply show you how to do that. I'm going to analyze this video that Officer Tatum is putting out to the world, and I'm going to speak as though I'm speaking to him, so that you can learn, and so that if he's watching, he can also learn how to articulate himself a little bit better. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin and watch this video and see what this man has to say.
Real quick, Benjamin Crump should be ashamed of himself. Al Sharpton should be ashamed of themselves. I'm right here in Mississippi. It's crazy that I had to fly down here to even get this information. They've been lying on these boys. I got evidence, and I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to lay it out for you. It is a shame that that boy Nolan did not get the respect that he deserved. In my opinion, they turned his death into a racial thing, destroying the community. You name it, they did it. And we got evidence that it wasn't just four boys with him. We got evidence that they asked Nolan to get back on the boat, and he refused to because he grown. We got evidence that the boys reached out to the parents, that Benjamin Crump and them didn't refuse to reach out to these boys. And I've talked to them. I've seen the evidence with my own eyes. I've seen that there was more than just four people. There was 3 boats full of kids. I know that they left and they had nothing to do with this. And instead of them saying and standing up for these boys and saying, look, we don't know what happened, we want justice for Nolan, these boys didn't have no involvement. Instead, they want to make it about race. And it is a shame. And I'm so heated, man. I went out to Horn Island. We got all the video. We got the interviews. The boys wanted to talk to me because I'm the only one there to give them a voice, because everybody else is fake, fraudulent, looking out for themselves. And it's a shame, man.
First of all, I want to stop it real quick because it's very ironic, because he's going to make money off of these interviews as well. Just mind you, he's also going to make money off of putting this on all of his social media platforms as well. So don't think that he's doing something like this for noble reasons just because he's telling you that. Okay, let's continue.
It's a shame. Nolan deserved better than what they did. They out here hoodwinking, trying to raise money and make stuff about race, and they have no evidence. They lied about the phone getting deleted. It's a shame, man. But y'all finna find out, and a lot of y'all gonna have to apologize for the stuff that you said. You're gonna have to take that video down and apologize, because you are part of the lie.
Officer Tatum, very interesting analysis. So after this performative presentation, I have to say this, right? So you seem to believe that because you flew to Mississippi, interviewed a few witnesses, and heard their side of the story, that you've somehow solved the case Scooby-Doo. But that's not how an investigation works. You did an interview, right? But that's just evidence. So as a university professor who teaches logic, I want people to understand something that's very fundamental. Evidence, which is what he says he has, is not the same thing as a conclusion. So he says that he flew to Mississippi. He also said that he interviewed the young men who were with Nolan. He also said that those men want their voices heard, but they scrub their social medias, which is crazy. He also says that they told him that they asked Nolan to get back in the boat. Why was he out of the boat in the first place? He also said that they denied any involvement in his death. Okay, well, why not just say that? Then he also concluded that Benjamin Crump was lying. What was he lying about? Al Sharpton is lying. What was Al Sharpton lying about? He also said the family is lying. What is the family lying about? The allegations about Nolan's phone are false. So I think he misspoke when he said that the phone was missing, but he meant to articulate and he said he was heated. So I'm going to give him a pass there. But he probably is referring to the text messages or the things social media related are no longer on his phone. Here's the question that your performative presentation never answers is how does interviewing one group of witnesses logically prove everyone else is lying? Because it doesn't. If suppose in a divorce case, let's just say the female's testimony was heard, and so now this is all the media has, and then now you come along, you interview the male, and then now you're saying that, oh look, she was lying. You would be a terrible marriage counselor. Let's just be honest. And you keep repeating, I have evidence, right? Okay. But what you've presented is witness testimony. Witness testimony is evidence, but it's not proof. If I were a district attorney, I would absolutely interview those young men, but that wouldn't even be close to the end of my investigation because prosecutors should never ask, what story did you tell me? They should ask, can your story as a witness survive independent verification? So that's the difference between interviewing witnesses and actually investigating a case. Now, witnesses are measured against objective evidence, not whether or not you feel like they're telling the truth. So we should look at things like cell phone records, GPS data, digital forensics, timestamps, photographs, potential photographs, video evidence that we don't necessarily have or that may have not been disclosed yet, autopsy findings, public autopsy findings, independent autopsy findings, communications between these individuals, communications between people who were there that we might not have yet, physical evidence. Everything should get verified and tested because witnesses can be mistaken. You would be, I'm not even going to say that, to think that because now you have evidence that that proves the case, you are so easily misguided and mistaken because a witness can be mistaken. AI can be mistaken. AI makes mistakes. People make mistakes. Witnesses can minimize their conduct or culpability. Witnesses can protect friends and family. Witnesses can be uh, informed by others that they should scrub their social media accounts. Witnesses can protect family members. Public officials can protect family members of people who could potentially be uh, cooperated in committing a crime. Witnesses can coordinate their stories to make sure their stories apply and align perfectly. So that's why no competent prosecutor should ever treat witness interviews as the final word. And so here's the logical flaw. You interviewed one side, then you announced to the public, ran to your phone, emotionally charged, and said that the other side is lying. Shame on you. Shame on you. Because that conclusion does not follow from the evidence that you've presented. Not that the case is presented, but you. Even if Benjamin Crump was wrong about something, that does not automatically make that because you flew to Mississippi and interviewed those young men, therefore those young men need a voice and they have a testimony that need to be heard and they're telling the truth. Even if Al Sharpton got something wrong, that does not automatically eliminate every other possibility that investigators should be examining, not necessarily saying that they have, but should be. Those are separate propositions. One does not prove the other. And you know what that's called? You might not know what that's called. That's called a non sequitur. Okay. The conclusion simply does not follow. And here's what most most concerns me about his presentation. Throughout his presentation, his performative presentation, I'll add that you speak as though getting the other side ended the discussion, but it doesn't. The public is not going to allow this to go away without answers. Getting the other side is what investigators are supposed to do. Getting the other side is what every prosecutor is supposed to do. Getting the other side is what every journalist is supposed to do. That's called the beginning of an investigation, not the end. So you make it seem like it's the end, but sir, you're at the very beginning. We're talking about weeks of investigation has already been taking place, but somehow you're at the very beginning. So justice is not determined because someone purchased a plane ticket and flew to Mississippi. Justice is not determined because witnesses gave interviews. Justice is determined by evidence that can be corroborated, tested, challenged, and verified. That should be the standard. It hasn't always been the standard in America. So thinking that this is not race motivated, or this may be a crime that's not race motivated, or race is not involved. Where have you been for 400 years? Everything in America is racially charged. So my response isn't that these young men should automatically be presumed guilty because they're white, and or so-called white, and because a so-called black man who um, was murdered is they should be guilty because they killed a black man. We have the historical records that that we're hated, and that um, when things like this happen, we should not or ever rule out racism. Nor is it that the family should be automatically believed because they suffer from a great loss, losing their son. Um, Not saying that they shouldn't be believed or not believed, but we need to consider all things. Consider their testimony, consider the testimony of the other individuals. So, to put it plainly, flying to Mississippi doesn't make you a detective. Flying to Mississippi doesn't make you Sherlock Holmes. Interviewing witnesses doesn't make someone a prosecutor. And a witness statement is not a verdict. So, serious district attorneys would declare a case simply based on one side denying wrongdoing. Guess what? That's what you're saying. You're saying that the district attorney should declare a case solved simply because one side has denied wrongdoing. That's not logic. That's presumption, and that's not prosecution either. And so that's certainly not the standard that any justice system should ever follow. So you making that recommendation is absolutely insane. So again, if he were watching this video, I hope he's educated now that when you put things out in public, you should always know what you're talking about. And before you get behind a camera and you are emotionally charged about a high profile case like this, in order to get likes, in order to get views, in order to get reshares and things of that nature, and in order to be on everyone's radar as being someone who is concerned about justice, please think before you speak. And please stop drawing conclusions without evidence and making it seem like having one testimony is the end of all ends. So again, this video has been for educational purposes. I don't know Brandon personally, but Brandon, those are my recommendations to you. That as a man, you need to do better. Okay, you need to stop putting anti-black content on your social media platforms, and you need to be more mature in the content that you're putting out in the public, since you to a certain extent are a type of a public official. Okay, because people listen to you, people consider you to be credible, and with a huge following that you have, you should 100% be ashamed of yourself with the toxicity that you continue to put out to the public. Okay, so that's all I have. That's all the time I want to devote to this situation, because his opinions are really irrelevant. But um, I ask that you please keep Nolan, his mother, his father, and his extended family, and the people who knew him in your prayers, your thoughts and prayers, and pray to God, more importantly, that justice, as far as humanly possible, can take place. And even if it's not going to take place in this life, uh, make no mistake that the God who sees all things will bring justice to the blood of Nolan that cries out from the ground. So with that, I say shalom.